Kindness' Reward by A Very Strange. Chapter 6. Tracy groaned and stretched as she woke up. Her legs felt like lead. Opening her eyes revealed a familiar ceiling. It was the middle of the night, and a half moon providing only enough light to see by. Tracy wondered if she could go more than a week without passing out anytime soon. She glanced up as if to see her own forehead. Focused for a moment. Sure enough, a pale blue light emanated from her horn. Ha ha! She shouted in excitement. A murmur caught her attention. She looked over and found Fluttershy asleep on her stool, just like a week ago. Tracy smiled and chuckled. She gazed on at Fluttershy for a moment, before a small part of her reminded her of the situation. The smile turned into a deep frown. She forced herself out of bed and on the far side from Fluttershy. "I've taken enough from you," Tracy whispered. Her horn continued to glow, as she enveloped Fluttershy in a magical aura. She gently lifted Fluttershy from her seat and pulled back the covers. She slid Fluttershy into the bed, tucking her in. "I'm sorry, Fluttershy. I can't keep you with me." She paused, then on impulse leaned over the bed, and as she bent down, kissed Fluttershy's forehead, lingering for a moment. The Pegasus mumbled in her sleep and smiled. Tracy leaned back, walked around the bed, and headed out the door. She cast herself in enough light to see by as she lowered herself down the steps. She was nearly to the door when she saw an old familiar silhouette on the windowsill. Angel hopped down towards her, got between her and the door. "You know where I'm going?" Trixie asked. "That was the deal. I'm better now, Angel. Mel's in a block." She smiled sadly. "I just can't stay here forever. I know how she feels, but how could it be? I have no home here." She lifted the bunny aside magically. Angel flailed about, glaring at her, but it was no use. Trixie had her power back, and meant she had no more place for another pony in her life. That was what her memories told her, at least. So she opened the door and walked out into the night. The walk into Ponyville seemed longer than ever in the night. Trixie found her steps heavy and couldn't keep her pace up. She gazed at the stars. When had the nights gotten so cold? "Perhaps I am still tired. I shall wait until... No, it has to be tonight. Oh, why did I have to... Trixie? That you?" Voice came out from the darkness. Tracy looked up and Applejack stepped into the light she was giving off. What are you doing here?" Trixie asked. Applejack looked away. "Now, are you a real Applejack, or are you that fake Applejack that popped up in the last chapter?" "Don't worry, I'm real. I met my evil clone, and I decked her one." I couldn't sleep. Not after that. I wanted to make sure you and Fluttershy were okay. Look, you weren't leaving, were you?" "You said it yourself," Trixie said. "I cannot keep leaning on Fluttershy. She deserves better." "Better? Better?" Applejack looked as Trixie had just admitted she was Princess Luna's mother or something. She shook her head. "Begging your pardon, but I don't think you have it quite right. I would know, after all. There's something I've learned after tonight, is that it can be easier to lie to yourself than others. I was wrong about you." "I... really... But no, you were right. I shouldn't have just taken so much Sugar Cube. Maybe you missed it. But you've given Fluttershy a whole lot more than you took." "Huh? I ain't ever seen her like tonight. Not even the last time she faced the dragon. When I ran you out of Sugar Cube Corner, which I'm mighty sorry for, she blew up like a firework at the Summer Sunset Festival. I don't think I ever seen anything like it." Tracy had forgotten what Twilight had said earlier. "But that still doesn't... Listen, you know why I came with the others to get the two of you? We hurt each other, but Fluttershy and I are still friends. Don't abandon your friends. That's why she ran to the Everfree Forest for you, and from the looks of things, right into the Dragon's Melon for you, too. She did that for us, too, but only at the last minute. I've never seen her run towards danger, not for any pony. You gave her strength, Trixie. Put something fierce inside of her. A bit proud, too, I reckon, but all the same. Rainbow kept babbling about you two being, well... Applejack trailed off. Trixie blessed despite herself. Of course, Dash couldn't keep her mouth shut about that. She thought about it. Trixie knew why Dash's worry about the situation wasn't any surprise. Trixie had grown familiar with the other pony. She had grown familiar with a number of ponies. I know you had a life out there, and I can't say I blame you for wanting it back. But if you want it, there's a life right here too, Trixie. Got friends here, you know. You got. I know, good, Liz. I'm sorry. A life here. The idea was one Trixie simply assumed would never be. Without needing to buy a new carriage, her savings alone could last her a couple of years. Maybe rent herself someplace small. There was always a demand for a show mare, whatever town she visited. Entertainment hard to come by, and this one was no different. She could work Ponyville as a regular gig, maybe branch out her act. She had friends here. The insanity that seemed to follow this group, part of her own daily life. The adventure, the excitement, the stories she had to tell. I can stay here. Love to have you. Trixie smiled. You're right. Thank you, Applejack. Like no fine. Applejack tipped her hat. Hi. How come I don't hear you calling yourself your own name all the time? Trixie blinked. She only realized she had done just as Applejack said, and hadn't referred herself by name since the Dragon's Cave. She chuckled. When I was a filly, Trixie told Applejack, I figured if I told myself I was great and powerful enough times, it would come true. Silly, isn't it? Not really. Applejack smiled back. Worked, in it? Yes. I guess I'm finally happy with who I am, Trixie said. Now you excuse me. I should go before I'm missed. Applejack chuckled. Good night to ya. With that, they parted ways, each heading back to their own home. Trixie awoke early the next morning. She had been too anxious to sleep, and only got a couple of fitful of hours in the rest in the end. She awoke to a rapid clatter of hoofs on wood, raised her head from the clouds she slept on. Fluttershy had run down the stairs, eyes wide, a small parcel on her back. She was visibly relieved by the sight of Trixie. Trixie, I was so worried. Fluttershy, we need to talk. Trixie slid off the couch, but stopped and blinked at the parcel. What's that? I wanted to give you these after the party. I was scared you had left. Trixie shook her head. No, what? Fluttershy placed the parcel before her. She undid it magically, taking care of whatever Fluttershy found it so important. The brown paper came undone, and Trixie gasped. There, folded neatly, were her hat and cape. Trixie wears her heart on her cape, apparently. She almost didn't recognize them. They were pristine, vivid purple, and the stars sparkled like gemstones. I had already fixed them. I hope you like it. I'm sorry they weren't there before. Fluttershy smiled. Trixie felt her eyes water. Fluttershy, Fluttershy! Trixie leaped forward, wrapping Fluttershy in a hug, pressing her lips against the other mare's. She didn't even realize what they were doing, until she began to slip her tongue into Fluttershy's lips. She stopped herself in an instant and drew away, face hot and flushed. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Shh. Fluttershy responded gently. Trixie stopped, her eyes widening. Fluttershy. Shh. The Pegasus repeated, pressing her cheek. She leaned in, her warm breath on Trixie's face. Trixie looked into her eyes. Those eyes that had always told her so much. Now they told her an entire story. The story of her own future. It promised to be exciting, even a little frightening, but full of joy. A future full of adventure and drama, where every day would be a story in itself. A future where they could stare together. Trixie's lips parted steadily, and she let Fluttershy kiss her. Fluttershy was soft, but not too timid. There was a surprising passion in the mare, once dug deep enough. What had Applejack told Trixie? That she had given Fluttershy strength? Apparently so, as Fluttershy began to put more force into the kiss, becoming adventurous. Trixie was chuckling on the inside. The Pegasus was adventurous, to be sure, but inexperienced, much less so compared to Trixie herself. She decided now was a good time to start repaying Fluttershy for her kindness, giving instead of taking. Fluttershy was startled, but open to French kissing. Trixie eventually moved on to show her sensitive spots behind the pony's ears, down her neck. All first hoof, of course. She managed to get Fluttershy on the couch, where they were free to embrace each other without having to balance on their back legs. Trixie couldn't remember how much time had passed, how much they did, but every second was bliss. When they finished, both ponies were exhausted. Trixie found herself on top of Fluttershy as both rested on the couch, cuddling another despite the heat between them. Trixie felt giddy from all in all. I see what you mean now, Trixie told Fluttershy with a grin. Fluttershy gave her a questioning blink. This is kindness's reward, isn't it? Oh, not usually. Trixie laughed in return, nuzzling against Fluttershy. She was interrupted by a knock on the front door. Trixie blinked and reluctantly set off at Fluttershy. She got to the door for her, and was met by an explosion of streamers. As she reared back as a certain pink pony followed the explosion of colored paper that showered Trixie. Where are you guys? Come on, the party's just about to start. Party? The party last night got interrupted by Grumpy McGrumpy Pants and Sadie McSad Pants. You sound like cousins. But like I was saying, cousins, but... Trixie stared at her. What are you going on about? So, we're having an emergency party replacement party. I broke out the emergency streamers, the emergency cake, the emergency party favors, but not the emergency kit Mrs. Cake has. Even though the bands are so much fun, so many colors, they stick to my nose, and come for the piano. Oh my gosh, I'm the emergency piano. She was all over the place, bouncing between overly sugary sweet and dead serious. Trixie could just watch her. Hey, why are you guys so sweaty? Pinky asked, making both ponies shout. A party sounds lovely. Thank you. Well, why don't you go ahead? I got to get our nose, so we'll be right along. Trixie said quickly, getting behind Pinkie Pie and shooing her away. Okay. Are you sure you guys are okay? Fine, Trixie told her, forcing the persistent pink pants out the door. She sighed and wiped her brow as Pinkie Pie took her oh-so-subtle hint and bounced off. Trixie turned back to Fluttershy and smiled. Shall we? Are you okay, Arthur? Come now. We're talking about the great and powerful... Trixie tickled. Sorry. Old habits. It's okay. I think... Fluttershy blushed. I think he's cute. Cute? You think I'm... cute? Ha ha ha! I should show you cute, dear Fluttershy. She gathered her magic. Fluttershy blinked as she slipped off her hose. Trixie brought the Pegasus to her, reaching out to bless Fluttershy's hair back and kiss her nose. Fluttershy giggled, curling up like a small child as she floated weightless. Shall I carry you like this to Sugar Cube? She asked, teasingly gently. Fluttershy giggled again, shaking her head. Trixie smiled and set Fluttershy down gently. I forgot to ask. Your magic? Trixie looked away. Twilight was right. I didn't want it. Why? At first, I imagined I felt like I didn't deserve it. Then, I didn't want to leave you. Trixie, that is something to discuss another time. Trixie responded, feeling about as eager as Fluttershy was to engage this topic. Now come, before Pinkie Pie comes back to drag us there herself. With that, the two mares headed for the door. Oh, wait. Trixie turned back around the room. Sometime during their intimacy, she had felt it all fall loose. Where did... Oh, hello. Trixie saw Angel off to the side, tapping his foot impatiently. You saw that, did you? Trixie asked. She wasn't sure why she cared what Rabbit thought, but it was Angel after all. That was different somehow. The bunny rolled his eyes at her, and held at something from behind his back. It was a feather. Oh, thank you, Trixie said, slightly awkward. She looked at the feather and took her hand from the paper where she had left them. She put them on. It felt like a piece of her had been restored. Then, lifting the feather up, she stuck it through her hat, using magic to bind it into the weave, never to fall out. There. Now finally she was complete. She turned back to the door, seeing Fluttershy waiting, smiling both literally and with her eyes. With those eyes, no words were needed. Trixie got back to her, and he headed towards the waiting party. There's the mayor of the hour, Applejack greeted Trixie as he wanted into the Sugar Cube corner. She gave Trixie what was probably meant to be a friendly slap on the back. Trixie was pretty sure her spine was rearranged by the hit. She tried to grin at the earth pony. Yes, well, thank you. She moved away slightly from Applejack. She looked at Fluttershy on the other side and quickly rolled her eyes, which got a stifled giggle from the Pegasus. Say, how are the two of you? Oh, fine, fine, Trixie said. Applejack gave her a look, but Trixie kept up a coy smile and walked into the party. She spied Twilight and hid for her, wishing to discuss magic with the other unicorn after last night. It occurred to Trixie that she had one-upped the mare now, what with the dragon ordeal behind her. It was amazing to think of how little that mattered to her. Unfortunately, Trixie found herself intercepted before she got to Twilight. Pinkie Pie was babbling to her before she even registered the party pony's presence. And I made a whole new thing of puns before they even knew, but her mind may never think about that. Pinkie Pie looked at her. Trixie blinked. Excuse me. What do you think of the party? Pinkie Pie asked. Trixie looked around. Dozens of ponies chatting, dancing to the music, stirring puns and treats, and it's quite. Is that a stage? Trixie's eyes widened. A rickety wooden platform was set up against the wall, a lamp hanging from above, pointing down like a spotlight. Oh, I just set that up in case any pony ever felt like karaoke. Or telling a story, or putting on a show. Really? Trixie gave her a look. I think that sounds nice, Fluttershy said from behind. Trixie turned and saw her smile. You want me to? She looked around. Twilight noticed them and approached. Rainbow Dash came over as well. Does you guys want to see Trixie tell a story? Pinkie Pie asked. Twilight's eyes lit up. That sounds like a great idea. Yeah! Dash piped in. The last story was awesome. Y'all want me to? Is Trixie gonna tell another story? It was the orange filly from last time, pushing through the legs of others. Your stories are always so cool. Like Rainbow Dash cool. Cool. Dash chuckled. But that Ursa Meyer story made Twilight sound cool. Twilight? Thanks. Twilight quipped. Rainbow Dash, Rarity and Applejack spied their bundle of friends and came over. Trixie found herself surrounded by smiling faces. What's up, Rapona? Applejack asked. Trixie's gonna tell you another story, Pinkie said, making Trixie's mind up for her. Trixie flinched and glanced back to Applejack. Well now, that doesn't sound like a right nice idea. She tipped her hat. Trixie smiled and nodded. Alright. I know just the story. Trixie walked towards the stage. Pony saw her, glanced at the stage, found them parting before her. By the time she got up to the wooden platform and turned around, she found every pony's eyes on her. Trixie smiled. This was where she belonged. Her eyes searched for Fluttershy, near the back, before she got started. Let me tell you the story of the Maiden and the Maids. She told the crowd, pacing slowly. Her horn began to glow. A fog began to collect from nowhere. The stage creaked underfoot, shifting, growing, becoming sturdier and more proper with every step of her hoofs. The fog began to spread over the stage, refusing to disperse into the crowd, hiding Trixie from them. Trixie held the glow of her horn by tipping her hat forward, collecting the fog into the solid wall. On it, she painted scenes of light, simple but beautiful, like the pictures in a storybook. In a delicate, forested land, Trixie narrated, showing what she told against the fog. There lived a maiden as wise as Celestia herself, charged with the protection of a small hamlet. She painted the scene of a small castle and a tiny thatched roof town, placing it in the foreground of a Pegasus mare with a long flowing mane. The maiden watched all over her lands, from ponies to creatures, both greater and lesser. She brought peace to all she passed, and kept the court of the wisest, strongest ponies in all of Equestria. Then, one day, a wandering maid came to Propaean's lands. She depicted a blue unicorn in a cloak, throwing a staff onto the mare's back to aid the fantasy. She had the mare walk toward the castle. The maid was strong and well-spoken, and earned an audience with the maiden. She sent the scene to her throne room, putting the maiden on the throne, surrounding her with 5 other mares. But the maid was haughty, and challenged the maiden's court. the maiden's most trusted landowner, a farmer known for her hard work and simple wisdom, stepped forward to rise to the challenge. But the maidens turned their tools against her and slipped to her side. She wrapped up the earth pony and had the unicorn advance forward. Next, the maiden's bravest and most loyal knight stepped forward. But the maiden summoned a storm to combat her, refusing to truly engage the knight. Her Trixie blew a mile of wind through the crowd, keeping care to hold the fog she was using in place. The maiden's seamstress was next to admonish her. Many would consider it a lowly profession, but the maiden knew of the seamstress's impeccable eye and valued her attention to detail and art. But the haughty maids tore down the seamstress's pride, ruining her prized work. It looked as if the maid was as powerful as she claimed. All the while, Trixie lowered her voice, just enough to make the ponies lean in and pay closer attention. Another of the maiden's advisors watched on. A wise sage, young of heart, but with wisdom far beyond her years. She allowed the maids to talk herself up, refusing to engage in such a prideful and foolish display as the maids was calling for. So the maids left the maiden's court, assured of superiority, her victory. What the maids wasn't aware of was that while the maiden's lands were peaceful, they bordered a dark woods that ponies dared not venture into. The dark woods was sensitive to the evils that lurked in a pony's heart. The maiden's power and pride did not go unnoticed, and the forest sent the beast forth to challenge her, to steal her power. The beast was all teeth and claws, coming in the night, rampaging across the maiden's lands. The maids rose to the challenge, planning to prove that she could offer better protection to the land than the maiden ever could. Trixie painted a dark scene, keeping the beast mostly unseen. Just a giant toothy maw with red eyes. Polly's imagination could always scare them far better than she could. But the beast was prepared for a maid. The mayor's spell fell uselessly into the darkness surrounding the beast. The beast kept further and further, and the mage's tirade of spells did nothing to diminish its hunger for the mage's power. And then, Tracy brought her voice down to a whisper. She extinguished every light in the room, let her scene fade, and put the crowd into total darkness. Next, she removed her hat, allowing the bluish glow to grow brighter and brighter, cutting through the crowd drawing a collective gasp of awe. Out stepped the sage, Trixie said, allowing the words a moment to stand on their own. A quiet entrance could inspire them with awe, where a loud one would only startle. The two drew red eyes behind her on the fog, giving the impression that the beast was staring the crowd down. She placed between them and the eyes a single unicorn with a mane like a night sky. The sage was stitched by a maid, ignoring her cries that music was useless. Tracy brought the unicorn to the scene, making her mind calling out the sage. The maids could only look on in awe as the sage summoned the winds to do her bidding, distracting the beast from its prey, idling it. Resident and beast-like gave tribute to the sage to try and slake the beast's hunger. Magically, it took the place of the sage, adding a rumble as if they were in the midst of a storm or a stampede. The beast fought back, refusing to be distracted by the sage's attempts, raging against her forces. Her hoof forced, the sage was not concerned in the least. In a grand feat of magic to rival the raising of the sun itself, the sage lifted the beast and flung it back into the dark forest whence it came, never to return. She stamped her hooves, playing up the echo, and let her red eyes blink out. She gazed out over the crowd, and every last jaw hung slack. Every pony leaned in to capture her next word. The maids, incensed and embarrassed, refuses the sage's help after the fact. She'd never seen such power. Then, the sage, having defeated such a mighty beast, turned to the town and had ravaged, and got to work cleaning and aiding its ponies, alongside the rest of the maiden's court. The maiden herself, she neither required nor requested praise for such an act. Despite doing more than the maids had ever imagined, the maids fled the town, and seemed to find her power so useless, her words so empty. But our story does not end there, Trixie assured the crowd. The maids had meant to run into the wooded glade of the maiden's land, where she could rest and recuperate. In her blind anger, however, she ran until she found the very dark woods she had tried to capture her. Tracy flashed images of trees to Huck's claws, lighting up dozens of red eyes to blink at the crowd. She decided to go direct here, and began to play the role of the maid as she narrated her own ordeals. The forest fought to claim its own prize, calling at the maids at every turn. Tracy leaped to the side as she brought down the shadow of a tree. The maid was still feisty, but the forest had trapped her at every turn. She brought a coil of dark smoke around her, that she pretended to rear up to avoid. The maids fought for it night and night, refusing the forest. We could not have her in life. The forest would have her in death. The maids found hopes of escape vanishing with each passing night. She swept shadows across her. They served her foot in every one. She got onto her knees, allowed a large shadow to dart over her before collapsing on her front. The maid was done for. She whispered from the ground, closing her eyes. Her magic exhausted, body more so. The forest had won. She laid herself down and prepared for death. Coldness and darkness swept over her. Once more she hit her horn, plunging the crowd into darkness. She waited, counting the seconds in her head, then sprung up. Then there came the maiden, she cried out, horn glowing brightly enough to be seen through her hat. She swept the fog around her, disappearing from view. The light became muted. She brought more lights up for the crowd, but kept the brightest in front of them, drawing on it the maiden with the flowing mane, descending to where the broken unicorn lay prostrate on the ground. The forest was sensitive to the evils of a pony's heart, and for that reason it could not touch the maiden, no matter how hard it tried, for hers was the heart as pure as the sun is bright. The maiden might not have had the power of sage or her knights, but she held within her a light that could guide a pony back from the realm of the dead itself. The maid was not there yet, but ever so close. As the maiden picked her up and carried her back herself, she would not risk another pony in the dark forest. She refused to let the maids die. She was charged with the protection of all ponies under her land, and she had learned of the maid's mistake and escape. She could not let it be. She returned the maids to her home and began to heal her. For every pony else, the maid was already dead. Yet the maiden could touch the poor pony's heart and remind her she was alive when she herself forgot. The maiden, with all her duties and all she cared for, found time to spend by the maid's side, refusing to see any fall under her care, even when the most wicked as the maids had been. Why? The maids asked her once. The maiden smiled and told her, because it is right. Refusing this, the maids asked again, why? Because it is right, the maiden responded. And once more the maids refused. A third time she asked, why? Why aid me? Me who brought such terror to your lands? Why care for me, even after you returned from death's door? Why do you care? And once more the maiden smiled, and with the tenderness of a mother she told the maids, because it is right. The maids grew healthy again, and under the maiden's guiding hoof, she was not loved by the court, but in time they grew to know her, and she them. There was a strength in each of them. The knight's intense loyalty to her maiden nearly got the maids killed. Tracy stopped herself from giving a dry chuckle, trying not to kill the mood. The seamstress, with her detailed eye, even saw something growing inside the maids, something that the maiden had brought out of her, though she knew it not. But before the maiden could discover this, the dark forest struck again. It could not touch the maiden, but it found one who could. A dragon, greedy and terrible. One night, the dragon came to the maiden's castle and stole her from the court as they slept. Only the maid was awake, kept by the maiden's side as she held. The maid panicked and spied the dragon heading for the forest. She called for a messenger to alert the court, but could not wait. Into the woods she ran, guided by a force more powerful than magic, more ancient than the forest itself. Trixie allowed the performance, delighting a little more, throwing contrast onto the shadowy trees that dominated her scene. The maids found the dragon in his cave, preparing to feast upon the maiden. She did not hesitate, and stormed into the cave. demanding the maiden's release. She offered herself body and soul in replace for the maiden's life. The forest compelled the dragon to accept, for the maiden's life could not serve its nefarious deeds far better than the maiden's death. The maiden submitted, but to her surprise, the maiden did not. Not without you, the maiden said, refusing to leave the dragon. I cannot leave without you. Why? The maid asked, fearing the dragon would take them both. She looked into the maiden's eyes and realized why. The maiden knew if she stayed, she would fail all its citizens under her care. But the maids, as she had healed and learned the wisdom of the maiden's court, had taken something from the maiden. Something she never meant to take, but would never abandon. She had taken the maiden's heart. The maiden understood. She understood why the maiden cared, why the seeds were so powerful, why she stood now against the dragon. A force more powerful than magic guided them both, a force more ancient than the trees, loved by ponies. The maiden had taught the maids to love. The love inside her fueled her magic, broke free of the dragon, defending the maiden. The dragon's fire could not burn them, nor could his claws touch them. She depicted the fire almost too realistically, sending the audience leaning away as she drew two ponies facing a terrible dragon. And the two of them fled the forest. The forest now could not touch the maid, not with love in her heart. They fled, returned safely to the maiden's court. There is one last part to the tale, my friends. For her service, the maiden offered the maids new robes, the finest crafted, to bring jealousy to Celestia herself. But the greedy and selfish maid, who had stolen the maiden's heart, she wanted something more. She stood before the maiden and said, Tracy got up on two hooves and created a spotlight as he pointed to the crowd. The crowd was shocked, and all turned to face the center of the spotlight. Fluttershy. Fluttershy herself had simply looked on, incredulous. Maiden, oh my dear maiden, Trixie cried, real tears in her eyes. She stretched the hoof over to Fluttershy, and timidly began to approach her. I pledge myself to you, my fair maiden. I will be yours until my coat grows white and my magic fades, and then I'll still be yours. Tell me you will have me. Tell me I have a home in which to hang my cape to rest this weary heart. Fluttershy reached up, and Trixie held her onto the stage. Fluttershy held herself steady by resting her hooves on Trixie's shoulders. Trixie scratched her face, smiled at what she saw. And to that, the maiden said, she prompted. Fluttershy smiled. Yes, please stay with me. Be a part of my life. With me, I will try to do the same. I never want to lose you again. And the maiden and the maids looked into each other's eyes. Trixie said, not even aware of the crowd. She let her magic fade, returning them to the normal room. They both knew that as long as they had each other, no evil will touch them, she whispered, and they shall never be alone. She leaned in and kissed Fluttershy, deaf to the roar of the cheering crowd. The end. I would like to thank everybody who suggested this story. My apologies for taking about a few months to do this. I had other things to get into the way, and this story was mainly my escape from that One Piece story. But it was a great escape. Fluttershy Trixie's not really a ship you would think would work, and this fic gives you a chance to actually explore on how and why it would work. The story for 6 chapters moves at a good pace, does well to work on developing the relationship between our two protagonists. My only real complaint is Applejack. Was it really necessary to the plot to have Applejack suddenly turn into Fitz Queen of the Mountain? Maybe it's just me, but I don't feel like this is Applejack's character. I don't really feel like Applejack would do this, and it just comes off as the author's way to force the drama, which sadly cheapens the story. I mean, you already have Trixie worried about this. You already have some good also conflict. You already have some powerful points here where Trixie is worried about what's going on, and Fluttershy helping fix her. You didn't need Applejack to suddenly become a bitch. Heck, if you wanted drama so much, why not have Tracy find out from Rainbow Dash what that feather means, get nervous, run away, and that leads to the dragon scene, which was awesome. Otherwise, this just feels, well, I'll let Apple Bloom from my own fanfic, Love, Marriage, and Scootaloo, play it out best. Why does this even happen in Stars? Every time one of these writers tries to pull the old I got lie, I should have told you from the beginning, or my lie something really isn't that big but I'll hurt you type of things, it always does to force some drama on the book. It always seems to lead to nothing but a bunch of worthless padding. Yeah, and they always seem to get together in the end, and we know they will, so what's the point of separating them with a stupid line? That's what I felt like with this whole Applejack scene. We knew where this was going to end. We knew that something was going to happen. We knew how this was going to work. But does adding Applejack here? Does it really feel like it matches? Again, anything could have worked. But I'm not going to let that decry from the story. It was still good, still entertaining, and I'm glad to have read it. Well, one down, thousands more to go. I think it's about time we brought out a little magic. Let's get back to the Luniverse, shall we?